Welcome to part 28 of the Ultimate Unsolved Mysteries Iceberg. In this series, we deep dive cases including true crime, mysterious disappearances, myths and legends, strange events, internet mysteries, and more. The disappearance of Dale Williams. The disappearance of Dale Williams, a 42-year-old auto body shop owner, on May 27, 1999, in Nucla, Colorado, remains a baffling, unsolved mystery to this date. Williams was last seen around midday when he reportedly left his shop to assist a stranded motorist less than a mile east of his location. This act was out of the ordinary, as Williams was not known to receive calls about car problems, given his profession primarily involved auto body work rather than mechanical repairs. According to investigators who interviewed a witness at the scene when the call came in, the caller was likely a female, though it was unclear if they were known to one another. The case took a perplexing turn when, 2 months later, Williams' pickup truck was discovered submerged in a river, devoid of any clues to his whereabouts. The condition and position of the vehicle suggested deliberate action rather than an accident. The truck was in gear, the ignition was on, and the driver's side window was partially closed, a detail that struck Dale's wife as odd because he habitually drove with the window fully down. Theories around Williams's disappearance have been numerous, with some suggesting foul play. Before his disappearance, Williams and his wife had helped a woman relocate to escape a troubled marriage. This act reportedly enraged the woman's husband, who was a former friend of Williams. Following this, there were quite a few incidents of vandalism and theft targeting Williams. This included the mysterious placement of his gun in the drop box of a local video store his wife owned, raising suspicions of a retaliatory motive. Further, following Dale's disappearance, Dale's wife put up missing posters of Dale around town. She noticed that the missing posters were being taken down, and the authorities set up a surveillance operation at a local post office to figure out who was behind the poster removals. Investigators discovered that the same man whose ex-wife was helped by Dale Williams and his wife was the one responsible for taking the posters down. However, despite this suspicious activity, no known further investigative steps were taken against him, and he apparently provided an alibi. Despite extensive investigations, no concrete evidence has led to a resolution of the case. A witness claimed to have seen someone resembling Williams hours after he was believed to have disappeared with his truck back at his shop. However, the witness who saw this was interviewed days after Dale's disappearance, and human memory being what it is, dates may have gotten mixed up. Further, the phone call that led him to leave his shop was traced to a stolen cell phone, adding another layer of intrigue but no clarity. This strongly suggests to me that the distress call was used to lure Dale into a bad situation, though unfortunately no recording or transcript of the call exists. Authorities have maintained that there's no evidence to suggest Williams left of his own volition, leaving his family and a community searching for answers. There's been a significant recent potential development in Dale's disappearance. In October 2023, the Montrose County Sheriff's Office and the Colorado Bureau of Investigation jointly conducted a search of a property in Nucla. According to the authorities, the search warrant was in relation to the potential disposal of Dale's body. At present, there have been no further updates on the results of the investigation, but of course further search warrants may be obtained. If you have any information whatsoever on the disappearance of Dale Williams, please contact the Colorado Bureau of Investigation. What's the deal with Tommy Wiseau? This is a recommendation from community member Kugel Blitz. Thank you for this excellent suggestion. Tommy Wiseau, born on October 3, 1955 in Poznan, Poland, is an enigmatic figure in the world of cinema, best known for his 2003 film, The Room. Notably, it was only confirmed with absolute certainty in 2023 that Wiseau was born in Poland, with his previous statements about his origin being intentionally vague. He had previously stated variously that he grew up in France, or that he grew up in New Orleans, though other stories of his early life were also told. The Room, which Wiseau wrote, directed, produced, and starred in, is often cited as one of the worst movies ever made, yet it has achieved a near unparalleled cult status. The budget for The Room was $6 million, which he covered out of his own pocket, reflecting the aura of mystery that surrounds Wiseau himself. I note that Wiseau claimed to have been involved in a catastrophic, near-fatal car accident at some point in the 1980s, which inspired him to pursue his film career. While few details are known about this crash, it's possible that he received an extremely significant settlement as a result of this car wreck and used these proceeds to fund his career. And just to be clear here, Wiseau, who presented himself to be a struggling actor and filmmaker, somehow ponied up $6 million of his own money to make The Room. Alternatively, Wiseau himself has occasionally claimed to have made a fortune through, quote, entrepreneurship, which sounds incredibly suspect. Before his notorious, quote, success with The Room, Wiseau attempted to break into Hollywood since the late 1980s, making short films and attending auditions. This isn't exactly the resume of someone who happens to have $6 million laying about to fund a bizarre passion project, which was almost sure to fail. In 2017, James Franco depicted Wiseau in the film The Disaster Artist, which led to both critical acclaim and commercial success. This film also brought the mystery of Tommy Wiseau and The Room to the attention of a much wider audience. As an interesting aside, The Room is currently in the process of being remade, with Bob Odenkirk of Better Call Saul fame playing Wiseau's role. Also, to add to the mystique, Wiseau is allowing this film to be produced and released with all profits going to a charitable cause, again suggesting significant independent wealth. While Tommy Wiseau has somewhat demystified himself over the years, and does now admit that he was born in Poland, numerous questions about him still remain. What are your theories and thoughts on how Wiseau was able to fund The Room and all of his creative endeavors? The Rock. The Rock, a gigantic eagle-like cryptid known from Middle Eastern folklore, has captured the human imagination for centuries. This colossal bird cryptid stands as a titan amongst aerial cryptids, rivaling even the thunderbird in its legendary stature. The Rock is said to stand 20 feet tall and have a wingspan of over 100 feet. Depending on the source, the Rock is able to either pick up and carry away juvenile or smaller elephants, or even massive bull elephants. The origins of the Rock myth are traced back to multiple cultures, with ancient Indian Sanskrit epics mentioning a gargantuan bird capable of lifting elephants, hinting at the future basis for the Rock. The Rock's influence extends beyond mere folklore, making notable appearances in historical texts and explorers' accounts. Marco Polo, during his 13th century travels to China, is alleged to have witnessed this gigantic bird, describing how it could grasp an elephant in its talons, lift it into the air, and drop it to its demise. After this, the Rock would leisurely feast upon the elephant, or take the elephant back to nourish its chicks. Also, I think we finally answered the age-old question about what the Rock is cooking. It's elephant, at least if you're a rock chick. Polo described the bird as making its base in Madagascar and conducting northern, quote, raids into the Eurasian mainland. Further, he described Kublai Khan as having rock feathers in his possession. The Rock's story is also intricately tied to iconic tales of adventure and exploration, such as those of Sinbad the Sailor. In 1001 Nights, Sinbad encounters rocks on 2 of his voyages, with the most iconic scene likely being rocks dropping boulders on his ship. Or rocks dropping giant rocks, if you will. Modern scholars have sought to find a historical basis for this creature, with one of the most likely examples being the Haast's eagle, a gigantic eagle that once lived in New Zealand. In support of this theory, the Haast's eagle was known to prey upon the moa, an extinct species of flightless bird that dwarfs the ostrich. Moa could weigh up to 500 pounds, and the Haast's eagle would swoop down on them and take out the giant creature in an aerial assault. However, personally, I find it difficult to believe that this eagle is the basis for the rock, given the relative isolation of New Zealand from the rest of the world until modern times. That said, it is possible that through an elaborate and intergenerational game of, quote, telephone, the Haast's eagle morphed into the rock. Other modern theories suggest that it could be an old world variant of the famous Thunderbird. However, some also suggest that the rock and the Thunderbird could actually be the same entity. According to this theory, the rock may have maintained nests on various Pacific islands, including New Zealand, where it was sheltered from predation. When it sought to hunt, according to this theory, the rock would raid into either Eurasia or the Americas, acquiring a different name but similar mythology in each territory. Importantly, this theory has no evidence in favor of it, though I suspect it's gaining popularity because it's an interesting theory that explains two charismatic cryptids. My view on the rock is simple. Humans have long recognized that eagles are cool-looking and proficient hunters. My source on eagles being considered, quote, cool by humans is that humans have a strong tendency to put eagles on flags, banners, and standards. This applies across cultures and across time, from the ancient Romans to modern Americans, amongst many, many others. So basically, my hypothesis is that some person at some point in history said, you know what would be even cooler? An eagle so big that it hunts elephants. And hence the legend of the rock was born. Jimmy here, the YouTuber behind the Lazy Chill Zone channel. If you're enjoying my content, please hit the like and subscribe buttons and the notification bell. My goal is to create the most expansive iceberg series in YouTube history, and I want you all along for the ride. Also, please consider signing up for a YouTube membership and joining the Patreon. Your support helps me devote an incredible amount of time to content creation. Also, remember to join the Discord community. We've got almost 60 members now, and the community is super active. Click the link in the description. The Golden Suitcase. Here's a suggestion from patron and Discord member Iced Mocha, which according to my research has never been covered before in any capacity in the English language. Thanks for this amazing suggestion and helping me bring new content to the audience. Also, if you have any unsolved mysteries that are only known in your own country, please join the Discord or leave a comment. The Golden Suitcase is a tale of ancient riches discovered in Crimea, only to vanish without a trace during World War II. I note that during the time in question, Crimea was part of the Soviet Union. In January 1926, a Crimean peasant in the Ukrainian village of Marfovka stumbled upon a burial site and a trove of treasures. These treasures turned out to be an ancient Gothic king's burial, dating back to the 3rd to 5th century AD. Also, interesting aside, Crimean Gothic people continued to inhabit the Crimean Peninsula until at least the 18th century, and may have persisted on even longer. It is now speculated that the Crimean Gothic people gradually assimilated into the Crimean Greek and Crimean Tatar populations, and adopted their respective religions as well. Among the findings were a stunning golden diadem adorned with carnelians and pomegranate seeds, along with several other exquisite gold ornaments. Dubbed the Marfa treasure, these artifacts became a prized possession of the Kerch Historical and Archaeological Museum, one of the oldest museums in Crimea. The museum's gold collection boasted a staggering array of over 700 gold and silver items, including ancient coins, plaques depicting mythological scenes, intricate jewelry, and more. However, the outbreak of war with Germany in 1941 posed a grave threat to these priceless artifacts. With the Germans advancing into Crimea, museum authorities hastily packed the most significant exhibits, including the gold collection, into 19 boxes for evacuation. Among them was a large black suitcase containing the most valuable treasures, meticulously sealed and safeguarded. Under the leadership of renowned archaeologist Ueli Marti, the museum cargo embarked on a perilous journey away from the front line, with the Golden Suitcase receiving special care. Despite facing numerous dangers along the way, including bombing raids and German patrols, the cargo managed to reach Armavir in Russia. However, the building housing the museum exhibits came under a bombing raid, and the fate of the Golden Suitcase became uncertain. Through extensive archival research and interviews, the story of the suitcase's journey gradually unfolded. It was revealed that the suitcase, forgotten in the chaos of evacuation, survived the bombing and was discovered by a museum official who was entrusted with its safekeeping. Amidst the chaos of war, she attempted to transport the suitcase to safety, eventually handing it over to a local militia detachment for further evacuation. However, fate had other plans, and the detachment and crucial members tasked with safeguarding the suitcase fell victim to the invading forces. Despite exhaustive investigations and search efforts, the whereabouts of the Golden Suitcase remains a mystery. In August 1946, in the forest near the village of Spokanaya, in the Russian Caucasus, local children found a golden diadem. They took it to the police, and from there it was allegedly transferred to the Soviet authorities. Unsurprisingly, the golden diadem went missing at this time, and it has never resurfaced. However, judging by contemporary descriptions, it is very reminiscent of the royal diadem from the Marfa treasure, which was in the Golden Suitcase. And here's the thing, golden diadems don't just show up in the woods routinely. Let me know the last time you ran into one in the woods in the comments below. At any rate, no one had thought to draw such a comparison at the time. Further yet, given that the authorities seemed more interested in keeping the treasure for themselves, it likely wouldn't have mattered anyway. Also, as an aside, the only person who could definitively identify the diadem as being from the Golden Suitcase was Ueli Marti, the archaeologist who had initially packed it. Unfortunately, Ueli Marti's life also took an unfortunate turn during World War II. Marti was Russian of German ethnicity, and he had been internally exiled from Crimea to Kazakhstan for this reason. At present, the whereabouts of the treasure remain unknown. Given that the last known whereabouts of the Golden Suitcase was with a militia, and further given that the militia was apparently slain by Axis forces, there are a few possibilities here. First, and perhaps most obvious, is that the Germans looted the Golden Suitcase and other treasure. While some of the ill-gotten gains would undoubtedly be lost over the course of the war, some likely made it back to Germany and other Axis nations. From there, the contents of the Golden Suitcase and the other loot may have entered private collections or have been kept as family heirlooms. Alternatively, many of the items would become untraceable if melted down for gold or silver, and as such, under this hypothesis, many of the items are likely lost forever. Other alternatives are possible as well. Perhaps when the militiamen encountered the advancing German forces, they may have buried the treasure, which could explain the diadem being found. In the alternative, when it became clear that the militiamen would be unable to win in their encounter with the Germans, some members of the militia may have deserted with it. Ruja Ignatova and the OneCoin scandal. Ruja Ignatova, once known to her devotees as the Crypto-Queen, has been a focal point of one of the largest financial scandals in recent history. This scandal is centered around the fraudulent cryptocurrency scheme, OneCoin. Launched in 2014, OneCoin was presented as a revolutionary digital currency that would rival Bitcoin. Notably, OneCoin claimed to use a quote, private blockchain for all interactions, and as you may have guessed, there was no blockchain whatsoever. Ignatova's venture promised a new era of financial prosperity for investors, leveraging the booming interest in cryptocurrencies. However, the operation, lacking any genuine blockchain technology, was revealed to be a pyramid scheme, and Ignatova disappeared in 2017. OneCoin, despite its lack of a legitimate foundation, claimed to have over 3 million members by the end of 2016, promoting itself as the next big thing in the world of virtual currencies. U.S. authorities have since classified it as one of the largest pyramid schemes ever, with Ignatova at the helm of this elaborate scam. Through this scheme, Ignatova and her associates encouraged early investors to recruit new participants. Supposed quote returns were financed by the influx of funds from subsequent investors rather than genuine business activities. The unraveling of OneCoin began when Ignatova vanished in 2017 as U.S. and international authorities intensified their investigations into the scheme. She was last seen traveling from Sofia, Bulgaria, to Athens, Greece, which sparked widespread speculation about her whereabouts and whether she had been forewarned about an impending arrest. As of 2022, Ignatova has since been placed on the FBI's list of 10 most wanted fugitives, with a substantial reward offered for information leading to her arrest. In the aftermath, various associates of Ignatova, including OneCoin's co-founder Sebastian Greenwood and her brother Konstantin Ignatov, have faced legal actions. Greenwood was arrested in Thailand and extradited to the United States, while Konstantin was apprehended in Los Angeles, pleading guilty to charges related to the scheme. Theories about Ignatova's current location and status vary widely, fueled by the international attention the case has garnered. Some suggest she has undergone extensive efforts to conceal her identity, with substantial alterations to her appearance, through plastic surgery or other means. However, there's a potential darker fate that may have befallen Ignatova. A Bulgarian investigative journalism website called Bird reported that Ignatova was ended on the orders of a Bulgarian crime lord. According to this version of events, which has not been independently verified, this crime lord invited Ignatova onto his yacht in 2018 to, quote, discuss business. Once on board the yacht, she was slain and processed, with her remains thrown into the Ionian Sea. According to the investigative report, Ignatova had roped said crime boss into her criminal enterprise, not as a co-conspirator, but as a, quote, investor. I note that as of November 2018, OneCoin was noted to be a fraud, so I question why Ignatova would ever entertain getting on board this yacht. However, I do note that back in Germany, she had or has a husband and daughter, and presumably, she has family remaining in Bulgaria. Simply put, she may have been given an offer she couldn't refuse, essentially forcing her on the yacht. Given her significant entanglements with organized crime figures, and given that she attempted to rip them off, unfortunately, I've got my doubts as to her current status. The Azukiarai. The Azukiarai, also known as Azukitogi, is a captivating yokai from Japanese folklore. The essence of this yokai is captured by the mysterious sounds of azuki beans being washed or ground, typically near rivers or other bodies of water. As a quick aside, azuki beans are a type of red bean popular across East Asia that are often made into red bean paste. Like most well-known aspects of Japanese culture, the Azukiarai's present form took hold during the Edo period, starting in the 17th century. Personally, I find it interesting that even the mundane act of washing beans is imbued with ghostly and spiritual significance. In terms of physical description, This yokai is very rarely sighted, and as such, varied physical descriptions exist. It is sometimes envisioned as a small, lizard-like creature with sharp teeth and claws, though this depiction seems somewhat rare. Other descriptions of the creature indicate that it's a tiny humanoid creature with large, bulging eyes and a generally offensive appearance. Still other descriptions indicate that the creature is a Japanese raccoon dog known as a tanuki, which is known to have magical abilities. This description as a magical tanuki isn't necessarily mutually exclusive with the above descriptions. Tanuki are said to be powerful shapeshifters. So far, this probably sounds like just about the most mundane, paranormal phenomenon ever, right? This creature, which no one ever really seems to see, just happily washes beans. Pretty harmless, right? Nope. Wrong. You see, the story of this yokai has a much darker twist than you can imagine, and there's a reason no definitive account exists of the creature. According to folklore, if the Azukiarai runs out of Azuki beans to wash, it doesn't just call it a day. It begins hunting for more Azuki beans to wash, or it seeks out humans. And trust me, it's not just looking to show off its collection of washed beans, it's hungry, and it won't stop hunting people until it acquires more beans. Anyway, the lesson here is that if you're in the Japanese countryside, near a river or any body of water, be sure to carry some extra Azuki beans in your pocket. The slaying of Lucie Blackman. In July 2000, 21-year-old Lucie Blackman, a British national who had moved to Tokyo in search of adventure, vanished without a trace. Lucie, a former flight attendant, took up employment as a hostess in Roppongi, Tokyo's party district. Hostessing in Japan often entails socializing with patrons to promote higher spending within clubs, yet it harbors risks due to the potential for unsolicited advances outside work premises. Women who work in this environment often supplement their income with paid companionship work after hours, if you catch my drift. However, there is no conclusive evidence to indicate that Lucie was engaging in this kind of work, and even if she was, this is obviously absolutely no justification for what happened to her. Lucie's disappearance on July 1st, 2000, led to widespread concern. Her father, Tim Blackman, promptly arrived in Tokyo to seek answers and escalate the search, leveraging media attention to pressure local authorities. Despite the Tokyo Metropolitan Police Department's slow start, this spotlight intensified the investigation. Notably, the Japanese authorities faced intense criticism for their failure to take Lucie's case seriously prior to media attention. Some have speculated that the police in general do not take crimes against foreigners working as hostesses seriously. This, of course, has the effect of making these women prime targets for predators. The prime suspect quickly emerged, a man named Joji Obara, who was born Kim Sung-jong. Obara has an interesting history. He was born in Japan to ethnic Korean parents and amassed an extremely immense fortune during the 1980s Japanese bubble economy. However, as anyone familiar with Japanese economic history will know, the bubble economy burst at the start of the 90s, and Obara lost the vast majority of his wealth. Obara had been reported to the police on numerous occasions in the past for his extremely disturbing behavior with women. Prior police complaints against him had been overlooked, despite his lengthy history of conducting indecent assaults against numerous women. The revelation of his crimes only surfaced following Lucie's disappearance, when authorities uncovered over 400 video recordings of his indecent attacks, which he filmed in his condo. Obara would lure women back to his condominium, and then when they were there, he would give them a drink laced with sedatives. He was arrested following the link between his contact with Lucie and corroborative testimonies from other victims. However, his trial was marked by challenges. notably the acquittal on charges directly associated with Lucie's fate due to insufficient direct evidence. Despite being legally not guilty of the actions, a friend of Obara paid £450,000 to Lucie's father on behalf of Obara. But yes, I'm required to say this here. The allegations against Obara with respect to Lucie Blackman were not proven, and he is legally speaking not guilty. The slaying of Lucie Blackman is thus still unsolved, or perhaps better put, unresolved, as there are presumably no further investigations into her slaying. However, fortunately, Obara was not able to get away with every crime committed. Obara did face justice and was convicted of multiple indecent assaults and the manslaughter of another victim, Karita Ridgway. He spent years appealing these decisions. However, in 2012, his appeals were rejected by the Japanese Supreme Court. Obara is now in prison for life and will be unable to victimize any women further. If you want to support the channel directly, check out the Patreon and the YouTube membership. The lowest tier of YouTube membership is just 99 cents per month, and every little bit helps me focus more of my time on content creation. Also, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you haven't done so already. Like I said, I put out content constantly, and you don't want to miss it. Shout out to my patrons Noah Schubert, Iced Mocha, Kurt the Squirt, Monoxide Wendigo, Jeffer Metcalf, Z Volts, Director Delta, Unknown Delusions, and Blasphemous. Also, big shout out to YouTube members Jordan All and Syntax Nexus. And for everyone else, I say it always, but I love you all, and I'm so happy to have you here. Until next time, stay safe and healthy. Peace out, everyone.